Hey guys, in this video I tried to rank worlds in popular animes from worst to best using tiermaker.com. Now, a world in S tier implies that, fuck yeah, I'm living there. A world in F tier implies that, fuck that, not in a million years, whereas worlds in C tier are like, meh, I don't know about that one, chief. However, before we begin, I need to establish some ground rules and context. Firstly, you'll be transported to said anime world at age 16 to 18, and retain all the knowledge or information that you've obtained in real life. Secondly, you'll gain the potential or opportunity to become a mid-tier character in the verse. What I mean by mid-tier is that you'll have the potential that some of the more relevant characters in the shows have. Obviously not anywhere near the level of the main casts, but way more than the average run-of-the-mill citizen. And it mostly depends on your training and luck to improve your overall abilities. The time period that you'll be transported to will be set around or after the beginning of the series itself, but there are a few exceptions. Factions or destinations you'll be in will be completely random. More details on how the rules work are in the description below. Anyways, now let's get to ranking these anime worlds. First up is Demon Slayer. Need I say more? Even if I had the potential to become a mid-tier Demon Slayer, why would I ever run the risk of having to battle these bloodthirsty demons with superpowers at night? Some of these bastards could have just downright one-shot the main cast if it weren't for their plot armor. Hell, didn't Tanjiro's entire family get murked by Muzan? Sure, we can get some form of reading technique and that's cool and all, but still, I sure as hell wouldn't want to live there. And I'm sure most of you would agree as well. That's an E tier for me. And the reason it's E tier is because there's some that's a lot worse later on. Up next will be Black Clover. Honestly, I think the world of Black Clover would be pretty fun to live in. I mean, you get a free grimoire, you can fly and use magic. Isn't that badass? Having mid-tier level potential would also enable you to become a Magic Knight. And I'm sure that Magic Knights could earn a pretty good living, I suppose? I mean, aren't Magic Knights revered in the Clover Kingdom or something? I don't know, sure, dangers might happen here and there, but as long as you're not involved with the main cast or some of the more relevant squads, then you'll be fine, right? Like, yeah, you don't want to be in the Golden Dawn and get your ass handed by Xenon, or the Black Bulls where you're constantly fighting for your life. I want none of that shit, by the way. And I'm sure that the higher tiers will be handling all of that stuff on their own, so A tier is valid, in my opinion. Naruto. If I'm being completely honest, it's not very fun to be a side character in Naruto. I mean, normally it isn't in any anime to be a side character, but Jesus fucking Christ. Imagine having to go up against Madara or the fucking Jubi at one point. That shit could erase a mountain. Even if you get past the Akatsukis, there's gonna be fucking Madara. You'll eventually have to face against the Osutsukis as well. Currently in the Boruto manga, there are humanoid Jubis roaming around eating people and turning them into trees. Sure, having chakra and getting to become a shinobi is cool and all, but is it really enough to justify all the bullshit that comes with it? I don't know about that one, chief. But fuck it, we ballin'. I'd win. Just like Black Clover, if we're not hanging around the main cast, then I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Plus, we can use shadow clones. Isn't that cool? Who gives a shit? But I would have to put Naruto in C tier. Probably very high C tier and low B tier. Dr. Stone is up next, and this is by far the easiest one on this list. Straight to F tier. Do I even need to explain? Unless you're capable of living in a world without the internet like a caveman, or you're a fucking genius like Senku, then chances are you're like me, and I would rather unalive myself after 2 days, honestly. No technology, everyone's petrified, there's no good food, you'll be lonely and depressed, why would you ever live there? I would much prefer living in Demon Slayer than this shit. Alright, moving on. One Piece is next, and this is honestly very challenging. The world of One Piece is so vast and huge that it could honestly go either way. If you've read the description, I mentioned that you get above average Haki. Obviously, you could still choose to hone your Haki or other skills over many years to improve on them, but there's also a chance that you could find a devil fruit as well, depending on how your journey goes. You know what? Just for how interesting and fun the world would be, I would easily have it at B tier. You could choose to become a pirate, a Navi, or you could become a random wanderer. Moving on, Fairy Tail. Again, this is a very similar world to Black Clover. Just that there's a lot more dangers to worry about, but who gives a shit, right? The girls are hot, you get above average magic mana, but above all, there's magical cats around, easy A tier. Pokemon is next, and if I'm being honest, This is one of the hardest anime worlds to rank. I know some of you guys would be quick to jump the gun and just immediately throw that shit at S tier, but hear me out for a second. I think that living in the world of Pokemon is overrated as fuck, man. Think about it. There would be no animals in Pokemon. How would we be able to eat meat? I can't bring myself to eat a fucking Pokemon, even if it's a worthless Magikarp. Not to mention, people usually don't think about it, but Pokemons are fucking dangerous, man. They're terrifying. Imagine hordes of Beedrills flying at you. These fuckers are like 3 feet. There's also ghost-type Pokemons lurking around at every corner. Have you read their Pokedex entries? And if you meet a Garchomp or a Gyarados in the wild with your under-leveled Chikorita, then, well fuck. Good luck with that shit. See you in the next life. However, I can't deny how amazing and fun living in the Pokemon world would be. Being a trainer and establishing bonds between your Pokemon while challenging yourself at the gym is the dream that everyone who played Pokemon when they were a kid has. So even though, rationally speaking, it's a very dangerous world to live in. But nah, I'd win. B tier. JJK. This one is also pretty easy as well. Straight to the fucking E tier. Having more than the average cursed energy isn't nearly enough to justify setting foot in that world. Heck, even the main casts are getting their ass whooped. There are cursed spirits all around the corner, and if I stumble across a curse at around 2nd grade or above, I'm for sure getting my ass beat. And there's also Sukuna and Kenjaku as well. Plus, if you're following the manga, you'd know that things aren't looking so good for the Jujutsu sorcerers. Once again, fuck you, Gege. But the power system is cool, so it warrants itself to be above F tier for now. It's at a very solid high E tier. My hero is next, and I'd say that this is one of the more safer and generally better worlds in this list. You get a cool quirk. One of the downsides is that it might affect how you look, like what if you become a fucking bird or a lizard, but overall it's still a lot better than the other worlds. So I will put this at a solid S tier. Just fly to another fucking country and you'll be good, honestly. Avoid the main casts and especially the League of Villains and you'll be good. Just stay away from Japan. But I guess Star and Stripe didn't receive the warning. Skill issues. Moving on, Dragon Ball. This is an easy one. Sure, I could live there, but I don't want to risk myself getting killed every now and then, you know. Unless you're a Saiyan, you're not gonna be able to do anything in the long run. I guess I could leave it at around C tier. Very generously though. AOT. Straight to the fucking F tier. No questions asked. Even if you're an alien, it's still horrible. If you disagree with me, then I don't know what to say. I don't want to hear your opinions. You're a masochist. Goodbye. Chainsaw Man is up next, and this one is also pretty easy. I mean, I would say that this goes hand in hand with JJK. If you've watched or read Chainsaw Man, then you'd know that everyone ends up fucking dying, literally. Shit is fucking terrible. So it isn't very fun. But we do get some form of superpower, so it's a low E tier for me. Tokyo Ghoul. I'd say that this one is very similar to Demon Slayer, but slightly better. Because it's a more modern world. But it's still a very dangerous and horrible world to live in. Yeah, whether you're a ghoul or a human, it's just equally shit. So it's going to be an easy E tier for me. Higher than Demon Slayer, but worse than the others. Slightly though. Hunter x Hunter. Hear me out here, guys. If you're able to become a hunter, which you probably could with some training, since you have above average Nen level and potential, you get tons of benefits. You can make millions, you have access to many of the high tier facilities, and free healthcare as well, if I'm not mistaken. You're basically set for life. Just don't go on expeditions or anywhere near the dark continent and you'll be living good. Not to mention that you have Nen as well. One of the most diverse and interesting combat system in all of anime. Sure, it's not that safe, but it's easily an S tier for me. Above my hero, thanks to all the perks of being a hunter. And finally, we have Berserk. Yeah, fuck off. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Comment below whether you agree or disagree with some of my rankings. And I wish you all a happy new year.